What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Money's Funko Pops. I am, of course, Money, and today we have probably one of my favorite things to do here on the channel, and that is look at my top 10 valued Funko Pops for the year. I'm going to make this a reoccurring segment every year during the month of July, right around the halfway point of the year, where I get to sit down and show you guys my top 10 most valuable pops in my collection. And throughout the course of this video, I'll also be telling you guys some stories, some fun little stories about how I was able to pick some of these things up in person before they shot up, and also some great deals that I was able to work out with other people in the community. So this is just going to be a really fun sit down video where I'm able to share some experiences with you guys and really let you guys get to know me and more about my experiences here in the Funko community. So coming in at number 10 on this list is Walker Merle Dixon from The Walking Dead. Now this pop actually ranked at number 5 last year on my top 10 list. So it's pretty interesting how this guy has fallen since last year, being 5th place, dropping all the way down to just making it on the list this year. Now, The Walking Dead used to be one of my favorite TV shows. In fact, I used to have a huge Walking Dead collection with over 50 of these pops, but ever since I started falling out of The Walking Dead and really stopped caring about it, I've been selling off a good majority of my collection, and I'm really only down to about half a dozen Walking Dead pops. He is definitely the most valuable pop in my Walking Dead collection, and I was actually able to trade a black chrome Batman in a Chase Kingdom Hearts 3-pack for this guy. Zombie Merle Dixon comes in at number 10 on my top 10 list with a value of $135, which compared to last year is a $10 increase. So for number 9, I'm gonna need my Canadian friends to kind of help me out with this a little bit. This is a Rush 3-pack, which was exclusive to the Canadian Expo. It was a first to market Canadian Expo release, and then it got a wide release everywhere else with no sticker. Whenever I go on the Funko app, it says that it's priced because of that sticker. But when I go onto like eBay or Mercari and see people selling it without the sticker, it goes for literally the same price, which is why it's ranking in at number 9 on this list. And for those of you wondering, I picked this up at a Think Geek for retail when it launched without the sticker, because that, sticker was just a first to market price. The Rush 3-pack right here without the sticker is currently going for $145, currently putting it at the number 9 place. Now we move on to number 8, which is probably the biggest shock I've ever seen for any one pop to go up in price. Like, I still can't even wrap my head around it. We have the GameStop exclusive Azula, which ranks in at number 8 on my list. Now, I was not going to pick up the entire Avatar set when it released, because even though I loved Avatar growing up, I kind of only wanted to kind of cherry pick the pops that I got from this set. And then I saw some of these started to be hard to get, so I got some FOMO. And honestly, I'm really glad that I did, because Avatar is really one of my favorite shows from when I was a child. I still love it today, and I'm very happy that I'm able to have this entire Avatar set. To compare it to last year, number 8 on my top 10 list was Syndrome from The Incredibles, which is now worth, I believe, $95. So he has dropped down off of my top 10 list because he was replaced by some higher priced items that have shot up in value over the course of this pandemic. And Azula is one of those that has kind of dethroned other pops because of the popularity. So Azula ranks in on number 8 on my top 10 list with a value of $150 freaking dollars, guys. Isn't that nuts? $150 for this GameStop exclusive. So coming in at number 7 on this list is actually a pop that is tied to the same price as Azula, but this one has actually been kind of going up and down a little bit. From the San Diego Comic-Con Sunday morning set, we have Blue Flocked Scooby-Doo, and this is a 2,500 piece item. This was exclusive to San Diego Comic-Con Sunday morning's Funko pop-up shop booth, and you could only get it from being at San Diego Comic-Con 2017. I, however, was able to get it because I traded my Target dog for this thing. Not a joke. The Target dog was at like $60 at the time. This thing was at only $60 at the time, and we were both like, oh, cool. I'm getting out of icons, kind of. He wanted to get rid of this extra thing he picked up while he was at San Diego Comic-Con, and it just worked out for everybody. And I think that I made out very well on this trade. I do, however, feel bad for the guy that I traded with, because he definitely got the shit end of the stick now that prices have gone up and down. Now, like I said, Azula and Scooby are worth the same amount of money at the time of this video, bringing them at number 8 and number 7 on this list. I, however, think that Scooby deserved to be on a higher ranking than Azula, as I already explained. It is a goal of mine to get all of the flocked Scooby-Doo Pops one day, but he does place 7th on my list, coming in at $150. To continue the Scooby-Doo trend, we move into our 6th place pop on the list. We get the Creeper from Emerald City Comic Con 2017. And this guy comes in at number 6, like I just said. So this came out the same year as Blue Flocked over here. This was just exclusive to Emerald City, and this is the shared sticker. This guy was shared to FYE. Now, at the time, I was still in the middle of getting my undergraduate degree. I was going to school over here. I was working over here. I was living somewhere fucking up there. So I was constantly in my car driving around. I spent a majority of my time driving. So I called FYE in the morning and I was like, hey, if you guys get this in, can you give me a call? I'm in the back of house at Panera Bread washing dishes, and I get a voicemail from FYE being like, hey man, this is yada yada from FYE. We got 2 of those Creeper things in. If you want to come down and pick it up, it's here, but we can't hold it. So as the average person does, I went immediately to Twitter to tweet my frustrations about how I was pissed that I couldn't get it. And some random person replied to me and said, hey, my boyfriend and I actually each picked one up, not realizing that we were both going to pick it up. So we have an extra. Want to shoot us $20 and we can send it to you if you want. And in my head, I was like, this is a very high risk, high reward type situation, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. And it's perfect. The box came in mint condition. They shipped it so well. And I was finally able to get my hands on a pop for my Scooby-Doo set that I was just then starting out. Creeper comes in at number 6 on my top 10 list at a value of $180. I am a huge Scott Pilgrim fan, and I actually have the entire Scott Pilgrim set. You're going to see a lot of it going forward, but coming in at number 5 on this top 10 list is the Knives Chow Digital from New York Comic Con 2016, and this is a 1,000 piece run exclusive to the Comic-Con. So this was one that I had to do some pretty fancy footwork to get my hands on, but honestly, I think that it worked out pretty well. So what I ended up trading for knives here were a couple Teen Titans. When I first got into the Funko community back in 2016, there was a restock of Teen Titans Pops, which at that time were all vaulted and worth about $50 to $75 each, Starfire, Cyborg, Beast Boy being kind of the heavy hitters from that set. So I drove around to a bunch of different Toys R Us and I actually picked up 2 full sets of Teen Titans Pops. One that I have kept over here off frame, and then another set that I used for trade bait because I was just getting into the community, I was just getting into collecting, and there were a lot of things that had already come out that I was not able to get my hands on. So I was trying to trade the Teen Titans for this Knives Chow. I found somebody on Reddit who was willing to trade the Starfire for Knives Chow. Now Starfire at the time was worth probably about $55 to $60, and Knives was roughly around the same. So at the time of making this trade, it was a very fair trade. Everything went well. Knives Chow here ranks in at number 5 on my top 10 list at $195. In comparison, she was actually ranked number 2 last year. She was 2nd place on my top 10 list at a value of $210 last year. So number 4 on this top 10 list actually was number 3 last year. So we have a little bit of movement amongst the top 5 here from last year to this year. We have the Sex Bob-omb 3-pack, again from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Like I said, guys, you're going to see a lot of Scott Pilgrim here in the top 5. And this is actually the first Scott Pilgrim Funko item that I had ever picked up. In the story behind it, I've actually told here on the channel a couple times, but for the sake of how much I love the story, I'm going to go ahead and tell it again. So this was 2016. Danny and I were celebrating our 3-year anniversary, and we went to the city to get some lunch and just to kind of spend the day together out in the nice weather. We took the train home later on in the day, and we were driving down the highway, and I was like, hey, would it be cool if we stopped off at FYE just to see if they had the Sex Bob-omb 3-pack? At the time, FYE had never gotten Comic-Con exclusives before. This was the first year that Funko was sending FYE exclusives, so it was a bit of a shit show, and this was one that was in very high demand. People weren't sure if they would actually be getting it in person, and it sold out in the website the morning of just like that. So it was very high in demand, and there was not a lot of supply. We walk in the store, and there's this guy sitting on the counter behind us. And we turn to each other and we walk up to the cashier and I go, is that on hold for somebody? And he goes, no. And I go, can I buy it? And he goes, sure. So that's how it went. Like I said earlier on, Sexpo Bomb 3-pack was actually number 3 on my top 10 list last year, ranking in at $200. Just like knives, this dropped down on the list a little bit as well. Last year it was in 3rd place. This year it's in 4th place. Knives and the Sexpo Bomb 3-pack are both worth $195. However, the Sexpo Bomb 3-pack was at $210 last week, so that's why I put it above knives for the sake of this video. All right, we're in the top 3. I'm excited. This is exciting for me. A lot of really cool stuff down here in this top 3. So coming in at number 3 on my top 10 list for value is one that I would have never thought would be worth this much money, and one that I would have never thought that I would even own. So number 3 is the Hot Topic exclusive Chase Aang on the air scooter from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, I am very lucky to be surrounded by an amazing group of friends. My girlfriend orchestrated my cousin DJ and my friends Gamery, Adam, and Brad to all kind of chip in a little bit of money to buy me this birthday gift for my birthday last year. I just sound like Tyler, the Creator. They all came together and surprised me with this wonderful birthday gift for a pop that I missed out on. For those of you who don't know, I'm in a band and we tend to tour around every now and then and play some shows in some surrounding states. So when the Hot Topics in our area got these, I was actually in Massachusetts, and then we went straight down to Delaware. So I actually missed out on the launch of Aang on the air scooter, and that thing was out of the gate worth $60. It was not going for cheaper than that. As I've already touched on with Azula, Avatar's back on Netflix. They're doing a reboot of it, you know, kind of like a real live action Avatar reboot, and people are in it. People are excited for it, and every pop in the Avatar line is going up in price. There's no other Aang pop where he's in the Avatar state, and this is the one that people want to get. And even though this has been restocked on Hot Topic's website, I believe 2 times over the last couple months, it is still continuing to climb in price every time I check the Funko app. Aang on the air scooter went ahead and knocked Knives and the Sexpo Bomb 3-pack down from their 2nd and 3rd place. Coming in at number 2 on this list is actually the pop that the logo for this channel is based off of, and it's going to bring us back to Scott Pilgrim one last time for this top 10 video. Here we have Scott Pilgrim in the Astro Boy t-shirt from New York Comic Con 2017, and this is a 1,000 piece count, just like the Digital Knives Chow. Now, just like Knives, this is one that I worked out a pretty incredible trade for. And looking back, this is another one that I cannot believe that I was able to actually work out. So there was a Robot Freddy that went live on the Funko shop, and it was limited to, I believe, either 3,000 or 5,000 pieces. There was a lot of them, but it quickly sold out. Everybody wanted to get their hands on it. So I went ahead and posted Robot Freddy for trade, and I found somebody who wanted to go ahead and do a 1-for-1 for this guy for the Robot Freddy. And again, this is another trade that I cannot believe, looking back on, that I was able to make. I made a lot of incredible trades early on in collecting, and I am very thankful that I was able to do that. I'm not going to keep talking about how much I love Scott Pilgrim. I'm sure you guys can tell from this video that I love him. I have the entire Scott Pilgrim set. I plan on doing an inside look at that collection sometime within the next couple of months, and this Scott Pilgrim is definitely one of the staples of this set, as it is the most expensive item in this collection. This is a 1,000 piece. He's holding the Rickenbacker base. He's got the Astro Boy t-shirt on, and he is limited to 1,000 pieces. This was a very, very sought after pop, and as the Scott Pilgrim collection continues to build, collectors are continually trying to get their hands on this thing, and that is why the price continues to climb. Scott Pilgrim was number 1 on my list last year at a price tag of $250. This year, he comes in 2nd place with a price tag of $360. And that brings us to number 1, the most valuable pop in my collection in 2020. We have something that I was recently able to get that just makes my heart so happy, because I never thought that I would actually get my hands on this. I can finally say that I have one of 500 of the Mouse Rat Andy Fugitive Toys exclusives from Parks and Recreation. And this is a pop that I never thought I would ever get my hands on. And here it is. It is finally home in my collection. Now, I was able to make an incredible trade with my friend Mark over at Stop Pop and Roll, who I will link down below in the description, who does all sorts of different mystery boxes. He has a whole shop up where he posts pops that he buys from people. And he had reached out to me, and asked if I wanted to make a trade for this thing. I sent him a picture of all sorts of stuff that I've been trying to unload for some time, but couldn't really find the right price for it. And we worked out a trade that I was extremely happy with. Parks and Rec is my favorite TV show of all time. I talk a lot during this video about how I love Avatar, I love Scott Pilgrim, I love Scooby-Doo, I used to love The Walking Dead. Parks and Rec has continually been my favorite TV show for years now. So far that I've made my own customs of characters that Funko did not do before they lost the license. So when they announced the Johnny Karate and Mouse Rat Andy being mystery box exclusives, I failed time after time again trying to get these things, and I had just given up. I never would have thought that I'd be able to get it. As I've already talked about, Astro Boy Scott Pilgrim here was the #1 valued pop in my collection last year, but this year it comes down to Andy Dwyer in the Mouse Rat t-shirt, and he is worth $470 at the time of making this video. So here it is, guys. Here's my top 10 from 2020. These are my top 10 most valuable pops in my collection. If you guys want to see last year's video where I detailed Captain Cutler, MCC Captain America, and more, I will link it at the end of this video so you guys can go ahead and check out last year's top 10 since you checked out this year's. And I want to hear from you guys down below in the comments, which pop from this top 10 is your favorite? And I also want to know which pop in your collection is worth the most. Drop me a comment down below and let me know which is your Andy Dwyer for your personal collection. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I absolutely appreciate your support, and I will be seeing you soon. What's up, guys? Thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate your support. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more content that I post here to the channel. Down below me, there are 2 different videos. You have my suggestion, which is the video that I suggest you watch, or you can click next video, which will take you to a video very similar to the one that you just watched. So thank you guys so much for your support, and I'll see you soon.